So in this session we'll discuss about call stack in Python. So in the last session we discussed about how we can create functions and how the functions are called. So in this session we will see how the Python handles these calling of the functions and returning of the functions in the background. So this concept of handling this session functions execution, calling the functions and returning back the execution back to the main program is handled through a concept called as call stack. So call stack is how Python remembers where to return the execution after each function call. So call stack is keeps tracks of the functions that have started but haven't finished it. Now when a function is called, what all things have to be taken care of? The local variables of that function, the arguments which are passed into that function, the information about the caller's stack frame, and the return address. That means when a function is called and it is being executed, and when it comes out of the function when a return statement is executed, but where it has to return to the main program. So these information, all these information about a function will be stored in a data structure called as a stack frame. So all these information about a function, local variables, arguments, information about the caller stack frame, and the return address will be stored in a data structure called as stack frame, and each function will have its own stack frame. So what is a stack? Now stack is a concept which is there existing already in all the programming languages. It's basically a data structure which follows the last in first out method. That means the data is going on being will be added only up. It grows only upwards. So when you push information to the stack, it grows upwards. It's always stored at the top of the stack, and we get the information out. When we want to take it out, when we pop it out, we pop it out from the top of the stack. So there is a stack for each function, and until the function returns, the stack will remain. So this diagram indicates, see, when suppose a function 1 is being called. So when function 1 is called, a frame 1 or the stack frame 1 suppose is created, and it will be allocated a space in the memory. And when the function, as long as the function is being executed, this frame 1 will be there in the memory. So let's say inside frame 1 we have another function which is being called. Let's say frame 2. So frame 2 is function 2. So when the function 2 is being called, another frame or another stack frame for that function 2 is created. Let's say call it as frame 2. And this frame 2 will contain all the information relevant to that function 2. Let's say another function is called, let's say frame 3, then function 3, then a frame for that function 3 will be created at the top of frame 2. So frame 3 will contain all the information related to function 3. All the information in the sense the local variables of that function, the arguments passed to the function, the information about this stack frame, and where it has to return, the return address. So when the frame 3 is, after the frame 3 is executed, what happens? It has to return. So when it returns, the frame 3 will be, now once function 3 is executed, after the return statement is encountered, it comes back to the place, execution comes back to the place where it was being called. So frame 3 is now removed from the memory. So that means it is popped out. Now let's say function 2 is being executed. Once return statement in function 2 is executed, it will take the return address of that function 2 which was stayed in the frame 2 and returns back to the point where it was being called. So frame 2 is also now deleted from the memory. Next, finally, function 1 is being executed. So frame 1 is the information from the frame 1 is being used, like the arguments of that function or the local variables of that function are being used. Once it comes across the return address of function 1, it takes that return address, return statement is being executed, then the return address from this frame 1 will be taken and it exits from that function. So we can understand this concept through animation which is available in this link. I will put this link in the description. So let's say this is what we call it as push. Suppose I want to push a value into the stack. Let's say I want to push 30. Then 30 is pushed into the stack. Let's say I want to push another value, let's say 56. Now that 56 is now stored at the top of 30. So like this you go on pushing values. It grows upwards, the stack grows upwards. Now you want to take out these values, that means you're popping out the values. You can see that the stack now grows downwards. This is how the stack frames for each functions are also created. That is what is being demonstrated in this figure. Now let's see so basically, to revise, when a program calls a function, the Python will create a frame object on the top of the call stack. Frame objects will store the line number of the original function. So that means in the frame object it stores the return address where it has to return when the function is exited. If an other function call is made, then an other frame object will be created on the above the other one. So let's see a simple program to understand this concept. So in this program we are going to create 4 functions: A, B, C and D function. Inside the A function I am going to call an other function called as B. So this is called as nesting of functions. Inside B function I am going to call another function called as C. And inside C function I am not calling any other function, and inside D also I am not calling any functions. Let's see this through a program. So we have written here we have 3 functions here: A, B, C and D. As you can see here, we have given a print statement for all these functions just to indicate when the function is starting and when the function is returning. So there is a start at the beginning of the function, and the print statement indicating the end at the end of this function. That means A returns. Now inside A we are nesting 2 functions. I am calling B function first and then we are calling D functions first. And inside B I am calling another function C. Inside C I am not calling any other function. Inside D also we are not doing anything. So what happens when we execute? So suppose this is the main function. This is the main program. What is this? I am making a call to A function. So when the execution starts, it starts from this line. So when A function is executed, it comes to this. It makes a call to the A function, and what would be executed? The print A starts would be printed on the screen, and then B function is called. When it goes to the P function, it prints B starts, and after that it sees this another call to another function called as C is made. So control now comes to this C function where it prints C starts and C returns. And since there is nothing after this, by default a return statement will be there at the end of every function. If suppose we do not give, as discussed in the previous session in functions, if we do not explicitly return an value, a return none will be generated from the function by default. So it comes back to the point where the C function was called. C function was called here, and then it prints B returns. Now B function has ended. So where does it go? It goes back to the point where it was called from, and now D function is executed where it prints D starts and D returns, and again returns to the point where this D was called, and it prints A returns. So let's execute this and see the output. So you can see here, initially A function was called, it comes here, A starts is printed, then B function is called, so it comes here, B starts is printed, C function is called, it prints C starts. Since there is no other function called, it prints C returns, and it returns back to this point. So the next line after where the C function was called, that means here, and it now prints B returns. Now B function is being returned, so that means it comes to the next line now where D function is called, and it comes to the and it says D starts, D returns, and now it comes back to the again the point where D was called. So D was called here, and now it prints A returns. Now the same concept here has been demonstrated in this diagram here. So these are the frame objects. Each one is a frame object. This is a frame object for A function, this is a frame object for B function. And this diagram is demonstrating how call and return from functions are handled. So basically, just to revise, what is a call stack? Call stack is what a program uses to keep track of the method or the function calls. Call stack is made up of stack frames, one for each method call or function call. What is a stack? It is a region of memory which supports the push and pop operations, and it is storing the data in a last in first out manner. And what actually goes into each stack frame? Each stack frame, that means this is one stack frame, this is one stack frame. So what is each stack frame storing? It is storing the local variables of the function, it's storing the arguments which are passed into that function or method, or it is storing information about that caller's stack frame, and it is storing the return address, that means where the program should return after the function is executed. And each method call or a function call will have its own stack frame. Each function will have its own stack frame. That means each stack will be taking up memory in the or taking up space on the call stack. So that's why it's very important, as you have more functions, the space complexity or the memory complexity of the algorithm will increase, especially when we are using recursion. We'll see recursion in the next few sessions, where a function is called recursively. So in such case there will be more space concept complexity or method complexity. And what we are seeing here is whatever stack is at the end of the stack, that means that function is being executed. So for example, here at this time, it means that a function is being executed. At this time instead, it means b function is executed. At this time time instant, it means c function is executed. So the top of the stack is which the function is being executed currently, and when the call stack is empty, the execution is on a line outside of all the functions. And a function returns, it removes the frame object. When a function returns, when the function is returning, then it removes the frame object. As you can see here, after c is executed, it removes that. Next, after b is executed, it removes that frame object. And you can see after, when a is being, after inside a we are calling d, and when d returns again, d is removed, and here after a is executed, a is also removed finally. So keep trying more programs like this based upon this, based on stacks, to get more hands-on and to understand this concept of stacks. Thank you.